Hey guys, welcome back. So what I wanted to do today was to make a watermark. I want to make my logo. That's the one thing I've been missing from my videos. And I don't have anything fancy like a laser cutter or a 3D printer. So I decided I was going to make one with the materials that I have in my craft room. Now, something I often work with when I do keychains or badge holders for at work is shrink plastic. I love working with shrink plastic, and I'll do some videos on my shrink plastic craft soon. But I'm working in Cricut Design Space, and I put in the font, and then I messed around and figured out the font that I liked, that worked best. And then I went in and put the logos for Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. And then I got it to the position I liked, the sizing that I liked, and then I attached them together. And then right here, you can see that there's black behind my logo. Well, that's called an offset, utilizing the offset function in Cricut Design Space. So that's what I decided I wanted to cut first, was my offset. So I got it aligned perfectly how I wanted it, and then I hid my logo. And as you can see here, I want to cut my offset. So this is the shrink plastic that I'm going to use for this. And so I put it on my mat, and when I cut my shrink plastic on my Cricut, I utilize the cut setting for acetate. And that ensures that there's 2 good passes of cuts that it'll go through that plastic. So that's what I'm doing here, is I am just making sure that my cut settings are correct and that the plastic is firmly on my mat before I run it through my Cricut. And I'll have to post a lot of my shrink art craft videos. I think you guys would enjoy them. I do a lot of holiday badge holders for personnel at work, and magnets. You guys, you can do so many different things, to include jewelry with shrink plastic. It's a lot of fun to work with. So what I'm going to do here is making sure my settings are good, like again on acetate, and I'm going to run it through the Cricut. Okay, so the Cricut cut the plastic, and here you'll see me shrinking it. I have a little toaster oven. I put it on bake at 325, and you can see how much it shrank down. I cut 2 so you could see a comparison, and then that way I could have an extra if I want to make myself a keychain or something with my logo on it. But typically shrink plastic will definitely shrink 50% or more, just depending on the brand and type you have. See right here, that's the original cut, and the bottom is the shrink cut. So what I'm doing here is I'm using calipers. That's really the only way to get a precise measurement, because what I want to do is I want to get back into the Cricut Design Space, and I want to cut some white vinyl to cover this, and I want it to be exact. So I'm measuring the length and the width, and then once I got it figured out, I went ahead and cut me some white vinyl with my Cricut, and then that way I didn't have to paint the shrink plastic. I could just put the white vinyl on it. So here you can see now I actually want a big logo as well. And since I don't have large sheets of the shrink plastic, I do have printable white shrink plastic. I'm not going to shrink it though. I'm just going to cut me a piece of the white shrink plastic to use to put my logo on top. Just because I could cut out a piece of paper or cardstock or cardboard, but I decided I wanted something plastic that way. That way I could wipe it off if resin spelt on it or something. So here I have some printable shrink film, and it's already white, so that saves me time from having to cut more vinyl. So remember, I'm not shrinking this, right? I'm just wanting a big plastic logo. So I'm cutting it in my maker again on acetate setting, and now I'm gonna have a big offset for my logo. I decided to go with holographic vinyl. I really like the blue and the red, so that's what I decided to use. I cut myself two of the big basil designs, one in red, one in blue, just in case I liked one better than the other. I couldn't make a decision. But then I also cut out a small Basil Designs logo for that small shrink plastic that we did shrink down. So right here, I'm just putting it on my mat and getting it ready to cut. Okay, so running it through the Cricut, cutting out my logo. Super excited about this. So here in this clip, I am just weeding. I'm about to transfer on that white vinyl onto my smaller logo. That way the background will pop, and I'm not having to mess with paint or anything like that right now. So you can see the calipers really do give you a precise measurement, and you'll see when I line up the smaller offset to the shrink plastic, it's actually perfect size. So it really did work out. Okay, here I'm just weeding my hologram logos. I am not the best at weeding, especially the smaller logo. Those little teeny Facebook and YouTube and stuff logos were really hard to get the center part out. Here I'm weeding my larger Basil Designs logo, much easier. I really like the way the blue hologram looked. It turned out really cool. So now I'm gonna apply my transfer tape. You guys, the hologram vinyl is tough because the regular Cricut transfer tape doesn't really want to work that well, but then you also don't want to use the strong grip transfer tape, or it's almost impossible to get off of the transfer tape. So I usually struggle with a holographic vinyl, but here I didn't seem to have a problem. So I'm just applying my Basil Designs logo. I already did the small one, and now I'm doing the big one to my white shrink film, which is essentially just a white plastic. And here you go. I have two awesome logos, small and a big one, that I can use in my videos. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to follow me, like, and subscribe.